and welcome back to another video. I think kind of in my mind I would probably call this video fixing my deadlift again. Um, Really this week my focus has been trying to improve my positioning in my sumo deadlift and really just trying to execute properly across the board. I think it's very easy when you get into meet prep mode to just kind of start thinking too much about the end goal of the process rather than thinking about the process in itself. There are so many opportunities to improve during that period, and there's so many opportunities to just set down some markers, both from a performance and technique standpoint. And I think if you start letting go of those elements too early on in the process, you can kind of get lost, and then you just end up pushing for performance that really is just never going to be there. I mean, there are so many factors at play, and if you don't start off on the right foot, it's very difficult to recover and get those back where you need them to be, and really then just execute from that point onwards. I think that peaking is more so than anything just holding yourself accountable for everything, right? Like holding yourself accountable for your reps, for your sets, for all the weight that you're doing and performing it within the given RPEs or restrictions provided. And I think it's really important to keep yourself within that paradigm and make sure that you're pushing, but you're pushing within a framework that allows you to push, but also to recover during that period. I think a lot of people, when they think of peaking for a meet, they think of just maxing out all the time, and it really isn't that. It's pushing your body to be able to lift more weight than you ever have before. And I think a lot of people, really struggle to come to terms with that aspect, and that's kind of what leads to poor meet performances. And I also don't think that peaking is just taking 3 weeks off at the end after maxing out a bunch. You have to continue to work into the meet, even though it's difficult, even though it's not fun at some points. Like, you just have to kind of keep going. I think really your other training should serve as the ability for you to be recovered and mentally prepared for this, so you can't really be burnt out going into a meet prep if you expect the performance to be good. But on the whole, everything is looking good so far. I just started my first week of real meet prep, and like those deadlift videos were just really just preparing me for this week, and for the performance that I need to put up in 12 weeks time. So I'm just trying to execute everything correctly, as I said, and really just keep myself in the pocket for this week. This whole first block is really just preparing myself for the intensity of the peaking, and getting my technique to the point where it needs to be so that I can really push in the final 8 weeks. I'm still going to be taking another deload before the meet after the next one that comes at the end of this block, and that would just allow me to pull back on some of that fatigue and then just keep pushing that intensity. The intensity will stay pretty high throughout, but the volume will drop at some points where it needs to. But on the whole, like, I'm really excited. I do feel nervous already about the meet, and obviously this really isn't, I wouldn't say it's like performance anxiety as much as it's just I have a lot of pressure on myself and for the goals that I'm trying to achieve. I'm being quite low-key about that because I don't want to add any additional pressure just focusing on those numbers. I really just want to focus on putting up the best performance that I can and giving myself the best opportunity to excel, and show up at Royal Nationals and compete in prime time. I mean, I think that's been a goal for me for a while, so now I'm in the place where I'm able to do it, and I have this opportunity ahead of me. So now I just have to take advantage of it. It's definitely a lot of pressure, and I would say that 99% of it is on myself. I do think my friends and others expect that my performance should be there. But I really do have that expectation of myself, and I have those goals, as I mentioned. So, I just got to keep working. I've just got to do what I need to do, and make sure I'm recovering properly, sleeping and eating enough, to ensure that the performance can be there. My body weight is looking right, and pretty much through the first week of prep now. A couple more days to go this week, and then we're on to week 2. So I guess the process really begins now. I'm really ready. I'm fired up, and I know that I'm going to be touching close to 900 in July, hopefully. Well, that's the goal, at least. Like, something around there would be ideal. But again, we'll just take what comes. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you next week.